I got into alcohol too much, and I started being reckless. I wasn't a good father. I wasn't being a good Marine. Some of my buddies could tell something was going on with me, and I started isolating myself. I was having some nightmares of the last couple combat deployments that I was on that I wasn't discussing with my wife or the command. Before I knew it, I was basically playing Russian roulette with my 16-year military career. And it was just a vicious cycle that was getting spiraling out of control. Thank God, some of my good friends, they basically had an intervention with me. They showed up at my house. I was in shorts, no shirt, still smelling, stinking like booze. And I see 3 dudes that I just got back from Afghanistan a few months before with. And they didn't have to say a word. They looked at me. I looked at them. I broke down. I started crying.
Dude, honest, it is a complete honor for you to sit here with me. It really, really is, man. For those that don't know, this is Trey Fagan. I know him as Osee. But do you know that, so we were at Second Force together.
Okay.
Do you remember this?
I do not.
Oh, dude.
I'm sure this is going to bring up some memories.
You're a hard ass. I mean, you're a hard ass now. I've seen you roll, but you're a hard ass. But I came into RIP, and during RIP, thank God, I lived off base.
Okay.
I lived off of the 172 gate. But once I finished RIP, I moved into the Second Force barracks.
Okay.
And you were
was this French Creek or
no? This is Courthouse Bay.
Courthouse Bay. Okay.
And you were my neighbor. Now I was a brand new guy. And you were like, you were the quintessential Second Force Recon Marine, like badass that I was like, I want to be like those guys.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And between us though was, I don't remember his name, was a guy who had a motorcycle and would literally ride his motorcycle to his door, unlock his door. Those barracks were unhinged. They were nice barracks, but that was a complete unhinged barracks. Open his door and ride his motorcycle into his barracks room. Do you remember this?
Wirtz. Was it
Yes.
Wirtz?
Yes.
Yeah, big guy. Tattoos.
Big guy. Yeah.
Yep.
Big guy. But you were not very approachable back then. I was like, what's up, Osee? And you just look at me like, ugh. And then I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I was in first platoon before I went to Okinawa.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were at Second Force and then went to Okinawa. Okay.
Mitch was my team leader.
Okay, Mitch
Rollins.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard great things about him.
He's a badass dude. Mitch is an absolute badass. Funny story about Mitch is were you at the 2004 ball down in Wilmington? Or were you deployed?
I think I was
around. I think you might have been around.
So let's see. I did 2003 OIF1, 24 MU, and then I may have been there.
So, what was his name? Our communicator. There was 2 young guys. You would know him. That we went to this ball, and I was a new guy, so I was like trying to keep my head nose clean. Like I'm just like, dude, I'm gonna do what I'm told. You know, I'm just like not trying to get, you know what I mean, not trying to draw attention to myself. That ship sailed the day I stepped into recon. But we're at the ball, and 2 Lance Corporals get hammered drunk down in Wilmington, and I guess it was undergoing construction, and they had these like curtains blocking everything off. Well, these 2 Lance Corporals got drunk and just pulled all the curtains down and were rolling around in them. This is like on a Friday night. Sunday, Mitch texts me and it's like, hey, bring a water source on Monday morning.
Yeah.
Like 06.
Yeah.
Check in. And I'm like, fuck, what could I have done, dude? Literally takes so I show up. He's like, stand by. I'm not ready for you. And I'm just like, oh shit, man. Like this is like worse than the conventional Marine Corps. Like I'm back in boot camp.
Yeah.
Takes me out down we run down the tank trail. Like, I don't remember how far. Do you remember there was like an LZ if you head towards like 172 on the tank trail, and there was like a big LZ where they would do movement and fire stuff and land. Anyways, he takes me out there. Well, it's just him and I. just goes to town. I forgot what it was called, but like PTing me in the middle of this field. Like I'm crawling through dirt, mud. I'm doing 8-count bodybuilders. I'm like, he's just thrashing the piss out of me about this thing. Well, apparently these two guys said it was me, and I wasn't even there, that tore all these things down.
Yeah.
And I wasn't arguing. So I got back, and so he like thrashed me for like 2 hours out there in the thing. I come back all fucked up. And I was an E5 at the time too.
Were you?
Yeah. It doesn't matter. And I get back, I'm like, hey Mitch, just so you know, like I wasn't there, it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And he goes, really? I'm like, yeah, I don't know anything about that. Like I wasn't there. Passed me on the shoulder, he's like, wow, good for taking it like a man. And that was the last thing he ever said about it. After the fact.
Yeah.
Anyways, I told my son was got in trouble at jiu-jitsu. So I just told my 5-year-old that story. I was like, hey man, sometimes shit happens and it's not your fault. And he got all upset. I was like, sometimes you have to take it on the chin.
Yeah. And
then just deal with it afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah.
A funny story similar to that. Let's see. I was in the first, I want to get your perspective too, since you were at Second Force and went to Recon or Third.
Yeah.
I have the perspective of starting out at Third Recon and then going to Second Force.
Yeah.
I got a funny story about that, but we were in, where were we? We were in, may have been Djibouti, but at one of them beer tents, and we get our allotted beer for the night, and of course I was young, I was drinking, and somebody stole a Heineken flag from the beer tent, and the Army came back and they said, hey, it was that Force Recon platoon. Well, they had us all stand on line. Gunny Hatcher and Greg Miller were in our team.
Wow. Yeah.
And they had us all stand on line. This Army guy came out, looked at all of us, and then went away, and he picked me. It was not me. I got thrashed. I got chow hall duty for that, and I'm like...
And you were new, right? This is...
Yeah, well, new, coming from Okie, the youngest guy in my Force Recon platoon, and I think a corporal. But, chow hall duty.
Back then, you could be senior in a Force Recon platoon and still be junior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know what it's like to get blamed for things you didn't do too. So
and you just got to deal with it.
Yep.
You just got to
deal with it.
Just eat it. Yeah, man. So when did you go to BRC?
So I came in the Marine Corps in July of '99. Went to BRC.
How'd you do that back then?
Okay, so I was a football player in high school. Thought I was going to be a football star. That didn't work out. Broke up with my girlfriend. I was bummed out, and this recruiter kept telling me, he said, hey, come see me. And I kept putting him off.
Where'd you grow up?
Gainesville, Florida.
Okay.
So loved football. Football was my thing. That kept me away from parents were big alcoholics, so stayed out of the house playing football throughout the year. And I started realizing football wasn't going to be a realistic option for me. And so I promised this recruiter I'd come see him. I had all of my buddies have always said, oh, my dad was a Marine, my grandfather, I'm going to serve. I didn't know anything about the Marine Corps and really didn't have any interest in it. But I promised this guy I'd come see him on a Sunday. So I went to go see him, and I wasn't very interested. He popped in this VHS tape of this guy all cammied up. He's sneaking up. He's got wire cutters. He cuts the chain link fence. He sneaks through. He takes like a 500-yard shot, and everybody goes crazy, and he sneaks and he E&Es.
All by himself.
All by himself. I'm like, and I'm sitting here on a Sunday. I'm hungover from a high school party. I'm like, all right, if I can do that, I'll sign up. He's like, done. Contract, Recon. So he signs me up, and at that time, they had a contract, Force Recon. So little did I know, if I wouldn't have passed any of the schools, I would have been open contract. But so that's how I came into the Marine Corps, and thank goodness went to School of Infantry, and then did the screener, passed the screener, and then passed all the schools leading up to be a Recon Marine.
How interesting was it to join the Marine Corps and to go into that, like go right into that pre 9/11?
So pre 9/11, the mindset was just so much training.
Yep.
Everything was training, and I tell people especially as soon as I graduated BRC, I started off in Okinawa, and as you know, Okinawa, it's 365 days a year. I mean, there's no weekends. If you're in the barracks with everybody who's in your team, so hey, what are we doing this weekend? Let's go on a patrol. Let's do this. So
you're in the CTA or NTA all the time,
non-stop training. It was I loved it. I mean, I say to this day, I don't think there's any other better way for a Marine to grow up than starting off in Okinawa. I
agree.
Just that mindset to get them in that training mindset.
I came back way better recon Marine from Okinawa.
So I was an RTO. What the biggest things I remember about 3rd Recon is I was an RTO, work hard, play hard, running up and down hills. But being an RTO, we had slash wire, primary, tertiary, alternate. I mean, dipoles, long wires, sloping V's.
And all your other shit.
So that's how I was raised. And then I spent about a year and a half in Okinawa. And I come to 2nd Force. In the first week there, we get comm classes. And I get attached to a team that has all sergeants and staff sergeants and gunnies. The RTO for our team is a staff sergeant. He's giving this class. And I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on. Let's see what they're going to teach me. And, man, I was like, oh, no. These guys don't have anything. This staff sergeant.
And you're a corporal.
At 2nd Force Recon, I've heard all these myths and legends and stories of Force Recon, and I'm coming from 3rd Recon. And this staff sergeant gets up and he starts telling me about a 33-foot long wire, and that's all you need. And I'm like, Corporal Fagan's like, that's not how we do it. That is not how we do it. Stop. Let me give this class. That was my mentality. So I was like, okay.
How did that go over?
It didn't go over well. I was the youngest guy in my Force Recon, 2nd Force Recon platoon, and it didn't go over well. But it was
well, I'm glad to hear that it wasn't just me that that felt the wrath of some of that sometimes.
Yeah, it gave me a sense of confidence, though. I said I was glad to learn. The ways that we learned it in Okinawa were so good. It was.
I really am the same way. Because I came in as we were talking about before. Like I came in as I was going to lat move. I was like 3 years in the Marine Corps, and had a sergeant major tell me, he's like, "Don't be a pussy and go recon." Yeah. And I was like, "What's that?" And he hooked me up with Dervin.
Okay.
And which you just posted, like, how is Dervin doing? By
he's
the way?
Doing awesome. He's got a passion. He's got a purpose. He's working for the VA.
That's awesome,
and he's
dude.
helping guys.
He was always great, dude. Yeah. Even like before I joined recon, after I got into recon, like the guy was just consistently awesome and funny as shit. Yeah. So if you hear this, dude, I hope you're doing great, man. Congratulations to you. But he hooked me up with Dervin, and I had to do a screening. And you'll remember this. I had to do a screening over, I think it was like the Christmas '96.
Okay.
And in '03. And I was like, screw it. Yeah, I'll do it. And there's only a couple of us that made it. Pat Morse, if you remember him.
Yep.
Pat, Dan New, and then myself. There's the only people that made that screening. There was like 20-something people there. Well, when I came up out of the water on my 500-meter breaststroke, they took a nice photo finish of me and put me on the Marine Corps Times, says go recon.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
I think I do remember
I got it in my office.
And I think it was a big thing. Somebody got compromised, right?
Yeah, right out I'm not even a recon Marine. I'm at a screening. So when I show up to RIP, and this is back when, if you remember, we did a combined RIP with 2nd Recon Battalion. So we had both guys, 2nd Force and 2nd Recon Battalion, going through RIP at the same time.
Okay.
And they came out of the office holding that paper, going, "Who the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
And I immediately pointed to Dan New. I said, "It's him." And so we just ate shit forever. But that thing followed me around forever, to the point to where, and I used to hate it. Like in the early days, I just it was embarrassing. I hated it, and then I just owned it. I'm like, fuck, I'm on the Marine Corps Times. Yeah, you should go recon. But that's what he told me. He's like, you don't be a pussy, go recon. That's how it started. But I was at 2nd Force, and then I'm on that platoon, and I feel like I'm in the majors. Like I'm around like just giants, like guys like you, Eden Pearl. Like I'm fucking this. I've made it to the promised land. And Greg Miller is like, you guys are going. Like I need sergeants to go to Okie. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I am going to the minors. What the fuck? And the reality, long story short, I ended up doing almost 3 years in Okie and 3 platoons. Best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Best thing that ever happened to me. Like hands down. Even though I had to come back and go through selection and all that kind of stuff, still, best thing that ever happened to me. I learned so much, and the group of guys that I was with, I mean, you know, because you're living there and you're just in it.
Yeah.
You are a recon Marine 24/7.
Yeah.
And it just makes you better in all ways. And so, yeah, very, very honored that happened. I feel very fortunate that I didn't get out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okie was a good time. I think it was the night I checked into Okie. I remember, I wanted to be consumed by the leaders. I wanted to learn anything and everything I could, but very quickly I found myself in the push-up position, learning the 9-line brief. And one of the few things I still remember today, some guys can sit there and tell you what town, what village, deployments. I can't do that, but I can tell you I hate drinking every day like my friend Ed for the 9-line brief because I learned it in the push-up position. And, having young corporals and sergeants over me yelling at me, simulating they're the aircraft, and me calling in for fire.
Pain retains, right?
As we're chugging beers and bottles, it was man, that level of instilling knowledge. It was like nothing other I've ever experienced.
What a wild life. Yeah. So, anyways, you stayed at Second Force.
I did. Let's see. Okinawa, Second Force, I did a 2-4 MU with the platoon. We went to OIF 1, and then we got back, and we thought we were going to go right back over there, and then they stuck us on the 2-6 MU. So a bunch of our guys got out, and this was 2005 time frame, and did the triple canopy and all the contracting work. And I decided to go to dive school, so I went down to dive school from 06 to 09, and as an instructor. And then the big turning point, before I went to dive school, Second Force turned into Second MSOB.
Yeah.
So everybody I knew was now Second MSOB, and kind of like yourself, I wanted to be with the guys I knew, and I wanted to continue to push myself, and I wasn't afraid to do another test or whatever.
Did you have to go through selection?
Yeah, I went to selection, and that's did you?
I went.
So
I was pissed at first.
I was too, but at the same time, it's like a lot of guys chose not to do it because maybe fear. But to me, I relate it to jiu-jitsu. It's like every day you get on the mats, you know, it's inevitable that somebody's going to be better than you. You have to accept defeat.
Yeah.
But you still do it.
You still do it.
And that's where the excitement comes from.
You know what? I got sold. I got sold on the entire process when I went through selection. Yeah. Because I saw 0321s that I felt didn't deserve to be there. There were some young guys that straight out of BRC that got sent to selection because they were they were part of first force that turned over to first MSOB.
Okay.
And so they were young. It's nothing bad on them. They're just 19, 20-year-old kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm coming off as a staff NCO, as a platoon sergeant in Recce Bat, coming over and taking selection. And they're like, and I came over and I'm an element leader, and they're like, I'm just waiting. So I'm already on an MSOT, and I'm an element leader, and I'm waiting to go do selection. And believe it or not, my slack man who had not gone through selection was one of the cadre at selection.
Really?
And I was like, I pulled him aside while I was up there. I was like, if you fuck with me when we get back, I'm putting you in a wall locker and I'm locking it for a week.
Yeah.
And but nonetheless, I went through selection, and then as I went through it, I was sold. I was like, this is a very good product. Yeah. Like I completely bought in to the whole thing, and I think that it was a good thing that I went through so I could have that. There's a lot of guys that didn't in that day. I don't think ITC was a thing then yet, though. I didn't go through ITC. Did you go through ITC?
No, so I went to A&S in 2009 when I got back from dive school, and like you said, at first I was like, oh, but I'm happy I did it to this day. Because there's some guys out there that, like you said, got put in instructor roles and never really went through it. Yep. So I'm much.
Did you like it?
I did. I loved it. I was amazed by how many moving parts there were.
Yeah.
And now I kind of help out with some contracting now with some of A&S and to see all the moving parts from the student side. All you see is you get out of the van, go here, do this, do that. And just see how much support it takes to make all that happen. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think they create a really good product. They were very good, or you guys do now. Like you guys create a very good product. I'm very, because as you get older, you're always like, oh, what's these young bucks? Are they like us? You know what I mean? Are they like us? And in a lot of ways, I think maybe they're even better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So. Yeah, I got back in 2007. I think I went through at the beginning of 2008. So I was right before you.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah.
On that piece, so coming out of A&S and then being on a MARSOC team, and you had the whole Recon MARSOC. You got the old Recon guys set in their ways and the MARSOC, the new MARSOC guys. I was blown away by just the how well-rounded the new MARSOC guys were.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe some of the Recon guys, we were more set in our way. Hey, I'm good in the bush. I'm not a good, but man, just the different capabilities that the younger guys had. I was impressed. Guys like Troy Burdett, Scott Copenhafer, they could do pretty much everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a unique. I know a lot of people didn't transition well in those early days. A lot of guys did not transition well. I think because of my Iraq deployment and some of the things that happened in Iraq set me up, because we were doing some very asymmetrical operations by necessity. Like we came in as a DA platoon because I was coming off of MU as a force platoon in that 3rd Recon. So we thought that was like that's the end all be all. That's how you get shit done.
Yeah.
And during the surge in Iraq, it just wasn't happening. So we went back to more an asymmetrical source operation. I just thought, let's just get back to our roots and figure this out. And we did so good. And then after that deployment is when I basically came back over. So when we started talking about special operations work, I just adjusted a lot better than some of my senior people that were like, no, we're a DA platoon.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, yes, sure, but also other things.
Yeah.
And I think I credit the thought process of that, of just having to kind of, in Okinawa, you have to do everything.
Yeah.
You have to do everything.
Yeah.
And then so I think that helps me out a lot coming back over. But anyways, so you did that, and then what happened? When did you get out?
So let's see. I got back from my last combat deployment in 2013, and I thought I had everything going for me. Had the marriage, white picket fence, just got a house, and I always, like I said, I grew up being taught and trained, work hard, play hard, and I got into alcohol too much, and I started being reckless. I wasn't a good father. I wasn't being a good Marine, and it started showing at work. Some of my buddies could tell something was going on with me, and I started isolating myself.
How many deployments you had been on this?
So I did one deployment to Iraq and 2 deployments to Afghanistan.
How many MUs outside of that?
And then 3 MUs outside of that.
Dang.
But yeah, I was isolating. I wasn't. I was having some nightmares of the last couple combat deployments that I was on, that I wasn't discussing with my wife or the command. Obviously, I didn't want to bring something to my command's attention to take me out of my team, but at the same time, it was causing problems with the amount of drinking I was doing. That quickly led to other things, and before I knew it, I was basically playing Russian roulette with my 16-year military career. I find myself getting in a fight, purposely getting in a fight with my wife on the weekends to go get some illegal drugs and come back, and it was just a vicious cycle that was getting spiraling out of control.
Just trying to cope with everything going on.
And some of my buddies could notice this. They saw it, and thank God some of my good friends, Tim Hogan, a couple other guys, they basically had an intervention with me. They showed up at my house. I missed work on a Monday.
Completely didn't show up.
Didn't show up. I'd been on a bender all weekend long, and like I said, 16-year military career. If I would have piss tested, it had been down the drain. I was crying myself to sleep every night. I lost all trust and faith in my wife. Me and my wife wouldn't talk. My marriage was ruined. My career was one step away from getting caught, being ruined. And these buddies showed up at my house on a Tuesday morning when it was 9 o'clock. I was working with Derv too. Derv had a big part in this too. But these guys showed up at my house Tuesday morning. I was in shorts, no shirt, still smelling, stinking like booze. And I see three dudes that I just got back from Afghanistan a few months before with. And they didn't have to say a word. They looked at me. I looked at them. I broke down. I started crying. And they said, "Trey, we love you. We're here to get you help. We're going to go through this with you. You're better than this. Let's get you what you need." And at that moment, I didn't know. I saw doing some research. I saw Cody on one of your podcasts, and I was surprised to hear him use the word surrender. But at that moment, I didn't know what I was surrendering to. But I knew at that moment when I was sitting there smelling like booze, crying, embraced with brothers that I've been to combat with, what I was doing at that moment wasn't working.
Yeah.
And I couldn't fix it. And we're taught in Recon Creed, we're taught, hey, I can do anything. I can do.
Never quit.
Never quit.
Never surrender.
Never surrender.
Yeah.
And I can't tell people what's going on. And I'm sitting there every single night boozing it up, crying, frustrated because I was in a hole I didn't know how to get out of. And I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to get in trouble. And I thought for somehow, some way, I was going to be able to get out of it. And for a while, every week, this vicious cycle, I'd sober up on a Monday. I'd get to work Monday, Tuesday, start feeling better, and I'd start the same cycle over again.
All right.
And just a repetitive, vicious cycle. But like I said, this rock bottom, I'm embraced by my buddies. At that moment, I decided I can't do this anymore. I'll do whatever it takes to fix so at that moment, I said, all right, let's address everything. And so that started a transformation.
You just gave in.
I gave in. I said, I'll do whatever it takes. They took me to the Navy hospital. They piss test me. I was about to get inpatient treatment through the Navy. If they would have done that, if they'd have taken my piss right then, I'd have been kicked out.
You've been done.
Tim Hogan and some other guys from the MARSOC command said, nope, let's get you some different help. And they pulled me out of the institutionalized Navy SACO treatment. Yeah. And they said, hey, we're going to take you to, we've heard good things about Laurel Ridge Treatment Facility. So MARSOC command through TRICARE paid for me to go. Basically, it's an amazing organization. So I got dirty piss sitting on the table at the Naval Hospital waiting to fry my career, and they pull me out of there and say, hey, no, we're going to do something a little different for you. So that started the transformation right there. I went to Laurel Ridge Treatment Facility for 30 days where for the first time I said, okay, you know what? I am having these nightmares. I
just want to stop before you go on. I want to I want to press this. Like, you are one of the toughest, hardest motherfuckers that I have ever laid eyes on in my entire life. Like, I just want, like, whoever's listening or watching to this, I want them to realize, like, my point of view when I talk about you guys a lot, like, not by name, but I talk about the men that I was surrounded with. And like, I was a child I was nothing compared to the men that I was surrounding with. And so to me, it hits harder knowing who you are and the type of man that you were at that command. Like, I want people to realize, like, these are some of the biggest, strongest American heroes that I've ever seen. Like, these are real life superheroes in my book. Like, this book right here is like real life superheroes. Guys that I don't hold a candlestick to. Like, I can have all this stuff and I can be successful outside of that, but I just want to, like, be very fucking clear. Guys like you and the guys that the names that we brought up, I have always seen as just the most badass human beings I've ever. And then for you to have to go through this and you to be open to do this, I think says so much more than what it actually is. Yeah. Anyways.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Nick. Well, to me, that point was the most critical point out of everything. My brothers, the guys that you look up to, that I look up to, embracing me and saying, look, we're going to be with you through this. If they wouldn't have shown up at my house on that Tuesday, I would have eventually sobered up, and I would have continued that vicious cycle.
Until your life blew up.
Exactly.
Or taking your own life.
And so I think that's where the suicide comes into play, is guys are afraid to surrender. We're taught not to surrender. They don't know, and they're scared. But that moment right there started the transition for me. And that was the turning point. So Laurel Ridge Treatment Facility, I was there for 30 days. I'm calling my wife. I said, and I joke around. I tell people I was a Marine. My wife was a bartender. I met her at a bar. She's back home, still boozing. I said, babe, hey, I'm going to whoop this alcohol thing. If you're still drinking, you better be out of the house by the time I get home. And I could sense in her voice that she was still drinking. I'm like, look, I'm serious about this. I've came clean with the doc. He knows about these nightmares. I told him I'm crying in my sleep. I'm jerking. I'm hitting in my sleep. We're going to address everything. And she's like, okay. And I tell people now, I'm like, we didn't know how to communicate sober. I met her in a bar. Our whole relationship was around the bar scene. So this transition, I'm 28, 30 days in inpatient treatment. They tell me I got to kick alcohol. So I'm looking through the yellow pages. I'm like, AA sponsor. I'm calling back to Hampstead. I'm like, hey, somebody needs to meet me at the airport so I don't get intercepted by a bar or a gas station from the airport to my home. So I got this AA guy that I've never even met meeting me at the airport, picking me up. He's taking me home, taking me straight to a meeting. And I get home and they say I need to do 90 meetings in 90 days. And remember, back to that
90 meetings in 90 days.
90 meetings in 90 days. And back that day that I surrendered, I was bawling, crying with Tim Hogan and a few other guys with me. I said, I know what I'm doing isn't working up to this point. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to change. So I reached out to guys that were grounded and I looked up to, good Marines, good fathers, good husbands. And I said, I'm just going to be a sponge with it. I'm going to just find mentors and soak up anything and everything I can and do it the way I see these other guys doing it. So 90 meetings in 90 days. So I get home, and I start doing 90 meetings in 90 days right there in Hampstead. And then the whole marriage thing, we go to the chaplain at MARSOC, and we're sitting there for 6 months. We're just sitting there, just headbutting. We didn't know how to be intimate together
outside of alcohol.
Without alcohol, so we had to relearn our whole relationship, and it was a headache for 6 to 9 months.
Still together?
Yeah, we're still together now.
That is a miracle.
4 kids total, 20-year-old out of the house now. And then we have a 10, 7, and 6-year-old. So,
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. And there's not a day that goes by and I'll continue on with my transition, but there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about that day where how bad it was. And those guys that came to get me, that's the reason I am who I am today, is because I mean, they didn't have to come get me, and I
made
don't
a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Truly grateful. So
6 months with the wife, with the chaplain.
6 months, we're grinding. I'm still doing the AA thing. After 6 months, I'm starting to get into a routine without drinking. So, and then working with the wife, and I'm working in the dive locker at Marsoc, and master diver Justin Scarborough was my boss, and he's going through this with me, and this is when I get introduced to church. Everything's jiving. I'm doing what I need to do, staying away from the booze, and working on my life, getting everything back under control. And he says, Trey, you ever thought about taking your family to church? And this is a guy I looked up to. I could see he's a family man, good father, good husband, good sailor. And I said, nope, well, let's try it. So we go to Scotts Hill Baptist Church with his family the next weekend. And I'm sitting in church, and
it's a good church.
It is a good church.
Yeah, it is.
It's inspiring. And I've been to church.
You just met Christian. She goes there.
Does she?
Yeah, her and her family go there.
We go back there from time to time just because that's where we started off. But as a child in church, stuff just didn't make sense.
Yeah, right.
I'm hearing it, but it's like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah.
And
Charlie Brown adults.
Exactly. For the first time, I'm sitting in church, and what's coming out of this preacher's mouth is actual stories from the Bible, but struggles that I've been through, and I can relate. And I'm like, man, I've never heard it like this. And I'm looking at the wife, and she's sitting there with a positive outlook on it too. And this is after the first time we leave the church. I said, how'd you like that? She said, that felt good. So we just kept coming back. And fast forward, I retire out of the Marine Corps, moved to Florida, and we find ourselves in a church.
Did you retire at 20?
Retired at 17 years.
17 years.
So did 17 years. I was about to do a medical retirement, and the couple weeks before I did a medical retirement, the career jammer said, hey, you can get early retirement, Tara, and get your VA. So I did that, and it worked out for the best.
That's great. Congrats, man.
Thank you. Thank
you.
you.
What year did you retire?
2016.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was going through my shit. That's 2016.
Were you?
Yeah. Yeah. From 16, it kind of, 13 was really bad. 14 was really bad. And then I started to kind of really work on it. 16 was still pretty heavy, but that's when it stopped. That's when I got it together and started on the right track. But it took some time, man.
Yeah.
It took some time. Yeah.
I'm still working on it.
I so am I. I'll be working. And now I just quit. I go everything with jiu-jitsu. It's like, it's just a work in progress for here until forever.
Man.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you retired then. What was the big transition? Like what'd you do?
So, through this, in the midst of me retiring and getting my life back together, the first thing I decided is I felt I neglected my brothers that I worked with. Through this transition, me exiting the Marine Corps, I was in shock, and I said, my brothers just helped me change my life, turn my life around. I'm getting out of the Marine Corps before 20 years. I thought I was going to do 20 or more.
Right.
I didn't give enough. And that's when this book idea came about. Guys were dying all around us during this period of time through Afghanistan. And I said, I got to do something else. I got to do something else for our community to show my appreciation. And that's really what started my passion to serve and to help others is starting this book. And The Untold Stories of Valhalla. I reached out to a couple buddies of mine. Danny Dreyer was one of them. I said, look, man, we got all these close friends that are dying in combat, and nobody's honoring them. And we can't read about their stories. How about we get all of our bros together, guys that were with them in combat when they died, their family members, husbands, wives, parents, and let's tell their story in an honorable way to something that people can read to their kids and parents can be proud about. So that was the pitch. Danny was like, yeah, let's do it. So we got 10, 12 names of guys in our community from the Recon, Sniper, and MARSOC community that had died in combat. And then I started reaching out to the command and brothers and guys in the community, and guys started writing. And we put together the book. It wasn't easy. Guys writing about their friends and them holding them in their arms when they died. So this was probably a 5-year process to get the first volume published. And what we found was, guys, it was bringing up all these old memories, and guys were struggling finishing the chapter. So we were at kind of a standstill. And that's when I linked up with Alan Smith, and Alan does some publishing and interviews and whatnot. And I said, Alan, I got these guys who are struggling with PTSD, and we got to finish this book. And so what Alan did is he did phone interviews and went out and interviewed these people. So they took what they compiled on paper, and then with the interview, and we finished these chapters on each of the individuals. So,
I mean, when I wrote mine, my wife warned me. She goes, just so you know, when you're writing about these stages and these chapters of your life, like it might like scratch open some old wounds. And I'm like, no, I'm past all that. I'm good now.
Yeah.
And sure enough, man, when I was writing, it was the same thing. Yeah. I was like, it took my breath away multiple times.
Yeah.
Where I had to stop and like, let me take a minute. And it's cathartic in a way, but in a lot of ways, it's you're putting yourself right back in that situation.
Yeah.
You know, and it is hard.
Well,
very hard.
I'm sure you experience just as I do, coming across brothers that struggle, and depending on who you're dealing with is what kind of approach you take to helping them. And
of course,
and a lot of guys maybe aren't believers in God, but the simplest thing that I've found to tell a guy who's struggling is one of the ways that that helped me was guys like Scott Copenhaver. When he died in combat, and we were element leaders together in 2010, 11 time frame, and he was such a better man than me. I mean, this guy, as a kid, he grew up on a farm, just tough. I was lazy. This guy woke. He didn't have to try to wake up.
Family guy. Yeah.
Didn't need to set the alarm. He was working out before everybody. Just tough, professional, smart. He had everything. And to see guys like that in our community die, and I tell guys, okay, if you may not have faith in God at this point in your life, if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for those guys. Yeah. That aren't here anymore.
Like you just kind of described T too. Like what a beautiful family and what an amazing man. Like that dude worked hard.
Yeah.
Like hard. One of the hardest workers I've ever seen on a team.
And
like he never stopped working.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, we lost some good ones, and to me it's we do an injustice if we sit at home and waste our life drinking our sorrows away and self-destructing when guys so much better than us, they paid the ultimate sacrifice. I want to think they're looking down on us saying, look,
do better,
dude,
be successful.
I'm up here, you're down there, get your stuff together.
That's right.
I would like to expect that's what they're hoping for.
That was a big realization for me too, because I would get, and I've shared about this, publicly before, but Memorial Day, I typically just go dark. Like I don't post things. I don't get on because it's just a heavy day. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I was sitting, Josh and I were sitting. He was luckily last Memorial Day he was in town, and we were talking like about all of our friends and all the guys that are in this book right here, and I'm like we collectively like we have over 50 dead friends, and to us that's normal, and our wives were there. And that there was a conversation came up, and they're like, "That's not normal."
Yeah,
that's a lot of weight to put on a man. Like you're talking about, because they were saying like, I'm like, how many dead friends do you have? And they're like, one, their whole life, and we have over 50. Throughout the community and through both of us, and it was And I was like, oh, that's not normal. That's a lot of loss for young guys. As you know, we're still young.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it is.
that's a lot of loss for a young man with a family and a lot to carry around. But you know, through all of that, I really, and helping veterans myself, I started to realize if you cash in this here, when you got your family, you got everything, well, then you might have well been killed by the enemy. Like, and the fact is, if I was, you know, and this is in my best self, thinking in my best self, if I was killed in combat and I saw my friends struggling with alcohol and not being the very best version of themselves and not trying to be successful and not living their life to the fullest, I would be pissed.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, why are you wasting life? You get life. Like, yeah. And that was kind of a real, and I was thinking about, you know, some of the guys we lost, you know, Gary Johnston, who we lost in Iraq at 3rd Recon, guys like David Day and Dustin Lee. And I'm like, these were great men. And they were genuinely good, kind men. And I do believe that they would want their brothers to be super successful.
Yeah.
And I feel like we do I think us as a veteran community do our community a disservice when we don't work to become our best self.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
Well, on that, I mean, I want to commend you. We don't know each other. We weren't in teams together.
No.
I've watched you from afar through social media over the years, and I was talking to a friend. We were doing land nav A&S this morning, and we were in the woods in a van together, and I was talking about you. And I said, this guy's had struggles. He's had situations through his career, and look how he continues to trudge forward. And I said, I don't know him personally, but I admire everything that he can still do through the battles. And
I think that comes in the core of, you know, talking about that creed and coming from the core. Like, you know, Josh and I say, just too dumb to quit.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't, I can't throw in the towel.
Yeah.
You know, and the better I've gotten, the healthier I've gotten, the more I have a passion to serve humanity. I was on a podcast this morning with another guy out of Ohio, and I said, if you look at he's like, why do you do what you do? I said, because I've been there and I've been that guy. And so every single one of my businesses, from Core Medical Group, you know, helping guys with TRT, and then us starting the Core Medical Foundation to help veterans that can't afford, you know, because the VA is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're 50 years behind, you know, so helping guys get their hormones straight. And because, like, a lot of times, a lot of depression, post-traumatic stress is actually type 2 hypergonadism, where the TBI is damaged the pituitary gland in their brain, and that's why they have low T.
Yeah.
You know, so getting guys help like that, you know, everything from Johnny Slicks and the organic soap, American made. Like, you buy one bottle of soap, you're feeding thousands of families, really, because all of our stuff is sourced. We have over 400 different vendors that are all American made, that all have employees, that all have kids, you know, and then down to, you know, our coaching community of men. Like, everything that I am doing truly is at its core to serve humanity.
Yeah.
And, you know, so what? You get some people talking bad about you, and, like, fucking, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like, I can take it.
Yeah.
I can take it. But at the end of the day, like, we come from a warrior community of men who don't quit when it gets hard. So why can I not apply that to my, like, if I'm going to take the fight, and I've said this so much to people, and I got a lot of hate for it. And this is what I said. So you're downrange, and you're this warrior, and you're not going to let the enemy take you out, right? You're that badass. But then you come back and you let civilian life. That's your kryptonite. That's your crux. That's what's going to get you. That's what's going to take you. I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
You're too fucking tough for that. I don't buy it. It's bullshit.
Yep.
And people are like, oh, you don't understand post-traumatic. I'm like, no, I do, because I've been there.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is apply the same grit, apply the same warrior mentality to your life now that you did back then. That you were doing push-ups on the pool deck, doing the 9-line in Okinawa. You know what I mean? Like, the same mentality that got you to where you were there is the same mentality that gets us to where we want to be in the next life, in the next chapter of our life. I truly believe that.
I think a lot of it has to do with that. I'm back from deployment. I can take my ruck off. Okay, I'm going on deployment. I'm full game day mode. I always, as far as say veterans or service members and first responders, I always commend first responders, because I'm like, dude, deployment for me was easy. I knew when I was going, and I knew I was game time when I was there, and then I came back and party, whatever. But first responders, every day you get out of your bed, you every day you put on your boots, you're going into combat zone.
That's right.
You piss off a guy on a street, he could follow you back to 100%. Where you live. And I'm like, man, you guys are 24/7.
There's a guy that's now a U.S. Marshal. He was one of the biggest busts in North Carolina up, and I had him on the podcast. And he said he calls it shit to shine in 7 minutes. You're in shit dealing with a child death or a murder or a drug dealer. In 7 minutes, you got to be shining as a father and a husband walking through the door. Yeah.
And to that point, when I retired, I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs. What am I going to do? What's Trey Fagan going to do after the military? And I'm talking to my uncle, and I said, I think I'm going to be a firefighter. That's going to give me flexibility, start a business, do that. And he said, Trey, how many deployments, combat deployments? You've been in a few gunfights. Do you really want to deal with roadside accidents and
all over again,
and then go home and take that home to your wife and kids every day? And I was like, damn, that's a good point, because
that's what you're going to be doing.
Yeah. It's first responders have it tough. That's a tough task.
I do think we're all very much cut from the same cloth. One of the biggest purchasers of my book is first responders, because it's the same story.
Yeah.
You know, they do this thing, they attach their identity to this thing for so long. You're a recon Marine, you're a Raider, and if you're not that, who are you?
Yeah.
If Trey Fagan isn't a Raider, if Trey Fagan isn't a recon Marine, who is Trey Fagan? Yeah. You know, and that's something that we have to work on and get through. But anyway, so you get out, but I want to talk about this book, but real quick, you have some other amazing stuff going on.
Okay.
What is happening? What are you doing?
Okay.
I like following it, by the way. Like, you're on it. You are on it.
You want me to get into the Barnabas thing first, or the Spearit thing? Do you have time for both?
Yes, do both.
Okay.
Do both.
Real quick. So 2017, I get tied into a church down in Orange Park, Florida. As soon as me and the wife get there, this is about a year of us going to church, and then I get down there and we're like, this is where we need to be. Let's get baptized. So we're getting baptized. They're doing renovation on their main place where they preach. So they got a cow trough in the gymnasium. Me, my wife, and my daughter, Kaya, we all get dunked in the tank. And unbeknownst to me, there is a family in the crowd, a gentleman named John Green and his wife. And his biggest saying is the most critical time in a Christian's life is as soon as he gets saved, as soon as he gets baptized, because he's a new Christian and the attack's going to be on him. Well, he told his wife, he said, hey, that next family that gets saved, gets baptized today, we're gonna reach out to him and we're going to mentor him. Not a military, not a veteran. He's just a civilian trying to do his part. So he sees my family get baptized. After the service, he comes up, he introduces himself to me, and he says, hey, man, I want to help you out. I want to help you through this process since you just got baptized. So this starts a mentorship through me being a new Christian. We meet once a week going over life, how to be a husband, how to be a Christian husband, father, man. And it basically starts this mentorship program where he's mentoring me, teaching me how to be a new Christian. And it was life-changing for me. So through my military experiences and then receiving this mentorship through him, And let me cover this. So I told you, me and the wife were. I was a Marine. She was a bartender. Everybody knew. You knew how crazy my life was when I was the different Trey.
Yeah.
So I joke around and I tell everybody my wife has been social media. She knows everybody in Sneads Ferry, and she posts all the pictures so everybody would see the life we were living when we weren't living right. Mm-hmm. So once I made this transformation, all these pictures started changing into family pictures and pictures of me and her doing good. So out of nowhere, all these people, guys I served with, guys that I used to party with, they're reaching out to me saying, Trey, what's going on, dude? We're seeing all these pictures. You're living different. You're not the same person. So it's given me an opportunity to explain to them, hey, man, I did this I did inpatient treatment. I did AA. Yeah. I did church. I'm God. That's what helped me. I was having these nightmares. I was scared to tell people. I'm just sharing my experiences. At the same time, I'm doing this, essentially mentoring these guys who are scared to say that they're having problems in their life. She's doing the same thing with military spouses, wives of our brothers. Amazing, man. So wives are reaching out saying, hey, my husband's, he's having these nightmares. He's doing this. How did y'all fix what was going on with y'all? So through this process, we're actually on the phone after dinner, both mentoring military men from our community. She's doing wives, and I'm receiving this mentorship from John Green. All of this is happening at the same time. And we finally come to the epiphany. We're like, let's do this on a larger scale. Let's start sharing our story publicly and helping others through one-to-one mentorship. So that's how Operation Barnabas got started. We started a 501c3 in 2017 in Northeast Florida, where we basically decided that we wanted to help military, veterans, active duty, service members, and their families, basically through sharing the struggles that we went through. And that's where Operation Barnabas came about. That was 2017. It's been ongoing for 7-8 years now. And we basically teamed up with a hotel. I shared my story to a hotel owner. She breaks down, starts crying, and says, I got a story exactly like that. How can I help you? I said, we need 15 rooms, and we're going to house homeless veterans, and we're going to get them a room, and we're going to get them a vehicle, we're going to provide them a mentor, and that's how we're going to do this. And she said, done, let's do it. So that's how Operation Barnabas came about.
And it's still running.
That's still running. I'm still on the board for that. The wife, we moved back to North Carolina, so I kind of stepped away, and my partner, mentor John Green, he runs it now, and it's still thriving in Florida. So
it's awesome, man.
So yeah,
one freaking impact, dude. You know, we talk about making impacts. It's like if you can change one person's life, it's worth it.
I say this. I used to chase a high, adrenaline rush. We used to do it in combat. Yep. When I'd get back, I didn't have combat. I'd start fights with my wife, go get some drugs, and be a party animal. Now, to me, now there's no greater joy in the world than to be able to share what I've been through and see somebody else succeed through
other
that.
people's success is
man,
like fuel. It's fuel, man.
It's
the
awesome.
Best feeling.
It's not explained much better than that guy in the hole story. Look, I've been in that hole.
Yeah. Guys,
help me out of that hole. Right. And I know the hole you're in, and that's why I think so many people struggle with maybe preachers who've been in church their whole life, and they don't have that testimony of look, I was there, I've been in the mud.
Yeah, I've ate the same shit that you're eating right now.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why we relate so well with veterans and guys in our community, I think.
And what else?
All right, so that was Barnabas. Mm-hmm. Move back to
real quick. How can people support Barnabas?
Operation Barnabas, or operationbarnabas.com. You can go to the website, and like I said, our main mission, we have a jail ministry where we go in and incarcerated veterans. We basically set them up for success. So we're in 4 different counties in Florida, okay, and basically help them transition out of being incarcerated and then get them a living location and a job when they get out. And then guys that aren't incarcerated, we provide mentorship through different means, nice, but through our website.
Okay.
Yes. Spearit?
Yeah.
Okay, Spearit. I moved back to North Carolina in 2021. The valleys and plateaus of life. I had 20 acres in Florida, living the farm life. The wife said she missed North Carolina. Happy wife, happy life. We moved back here, and I got complacent. I started slipping up. I got lazy. I lost my passion, my purpose. I didn't know what I was going to do next in life. And I said, you know what, babe? We got life handled. We could have a glass of wine with dinner. And very quickly, I saw a glass of wine with dinner getting back into the old Trey. So thank goodness I had friends. I had a support system, church, God, and I identified it quickly. And I met my new partner, Randy Batts, in church, who's a lifelong spear fisherman. He said, hey, let's go spear fishing. So we went spear fishing, and it opened up a whole different world for me. I was a dive instructor, like I said, but never spear fished. I'm out there on a boat with this 70-year-old spear fisherman, and I'm a little cocky. I said, what's this guy going to show me? And I was struggling at the time. I was dealing with my drinking at night. Do I want to go diving because of what I'm doing at night? And this is before I got back into jiu-jitsu, so I was really struggling. And I got underwater, and just everything went silent. Mm-hmm. It was the beauty, the silence, the fear of...
Have you not been diving for a while?
Hadn't been diving for 5 years. We get in about 80 feet of water. He's like, hey, just go down, follow me, and get a refresh dive. So everything goes silent. I'm a little fearful of the safety factor. And then just clear as can be, it opens up and you see this huge coral reef. The life on it just opens up. So I go from the fear of the safety factor to just jaw dropping. I'm in awe of the beauty that I'm seeing. To then it transitions to I got a 70-year-old man coming out of my peripheral, and he just starts slaying fish. He's shooting fish after fish. So it goes from fear to beauty to adrenaline rush
to savagery.
And he looks over and he points. He's like, go get him, boy. And I just start chasing these fish down. And before you know it, I'm huffing, puffing. I'm tired. And the dive's over. I come up and I'm breathing. I'm 30. I'm 40. I'm 44 now. I was 39 at the time. I come up and I'm like, oh, man, that was awesome. That was awesome. And this is a 70-year-old man. He's like, did you like that? Just talking calm. Yeah. And he's the one that shot all the fish. And he said, all right, next dive, you take a spear gun and you do it.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning. That was the introduction of me spearfishing. That was 2021, 5 years ago. And but through that process, he's mentored me, and he's been a good mentor of me getting my life back on track from one of those valleys that I was in. So I said to him, I said, Randy, the same way you got me back dialed in, dude, there's so many veterans and service members here in the Onslow County, Sneads Ferry, Hampstead, Wilmington area. We could provide what you did for me. We could do the same thing for them. And he said, yeah, let's do it. So since 2021, we've been taking other active duty service members and veterans spearfishing, and a trip will basically start out getting on the boat. I share my testimony, share my story, and then we go out, high-risk training. They're diving. By the time they come up, same thing every time. Every one of them's blown away. They bring up a big fish. They're like, oh, look at this. And then by the end of the trip, they're like, man, I needed this. I've been dealing with this, or I got marriage issues, or this. And we're just talking life, grown men talking life together. So that established Spearit. So SpearitFishing.com, and we help guys through outdoor therapy, saltwater therapy, and we do that through diving, spearfishing, and inshore fishing trips.
And that's what you're doing.
That's what I do. Just
and being a dad.
Yep, just trying to do all those things, but God first allows me to align everything and allows that to trickle down into all other aspects of my life. So, yeah, I'm just.
I remember we bumped into each other. I hadn't seen you in years, man, and I bumped into you at that comp, and you like smacked me right in the face. We're saying something about transitioning, like, I found God and I'm doing better. And I just was like, I almost started crying. It like took my breath away.
Yeah.
And yeah, because, I knew the first version of you, back in 04, 03, 04. And then I saw how crazy you had gotten later. And I knew something, but then I didn't really know what was going on. And you kind of caught me up right there at that comp. And it floored me, man.
Yeah.
It floored me. And I was like, oh, this, because like I said, very similar story to myself and journey that I had to take with faith and everything. And it took my breath away, man. And it made me happy. Like a lot.
I was speaking about you today. Like I said, I don't know you, but I'm a fan from afar, and I think our community pays attention to guys like Joe Rogan, the Sean Ryan, and you see transformations going on in their life as well. But I think I've sensed through following you as a fan of yours, I've sensed a transformation, family man, father, through the stuff that you post on Facebook as well. So.
Absolutely, and it's like, I just started finding, like, you talk about the balance of everything, and it's like really not balance. It's more like, what are your priorities in life? And as I'm 43, you're 44. It's like you just start to realize what really matters.
Yeah,
what really, really matters, and it's not a whole lot of other things. It's those kids. It's that wife. Like, that will make it or break it.
Well, speaking of kids, one of the best analogies I try to give anybody, if you don't mind, I want to share it.
Yeah.
When I was struggling with my relationship with God, the easiest example I could give is when my 10-year-old son was born. It floored me. It knocked me back. I was just the ability to see a life, something you've produced, and to try to live and be the best person and father and mentor. And this was through my transformation, the inpatient, the AA, all that, trying to make decisions, being a sponge, soaking up things, learning from others. Every decision that I made, I looked at as a crossroads. And I would imagine, when I didn't really necessarily look up to God, I would imagine my newborn son, Osee, being at my feet. And every decision, whether I make this choice or this choice, he's sitting there looking up at me, and he's watching. He's, Dad, which decision are you going to make? And I think we all, literally what comes out of my mouth, how I deal with my wife, his mother, looking down and saying, he's watching me right now. And I think that's a real similar correlation to how we look up to God as well. And we want to please our son, but we want to be a good example. And that's, to me, it's a very close similarity to our relationship with God.
Yeah, and like with kids, especially with those young ones. Like, I've got a 5-year-old, and then we're in the adoption process right now. We're about to, like, October, another one's coming.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've always said, like, they don't always listen to everything you say, but they watch everything you do, every single thing you do.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And that's, the order is tall. Have your wits about you. But where can people find this?
So, Marine Recon Foundation supported this second edition. Brotherrecon.com is a website. You can get apparel there, but you can also purchase this book. And no proceeds from this book are for personal gain at all. Marine Recon Foundation does a Gold Star family retreat every year, and they funded the publishing of this book. And all proceeds, if you purchase one of these books, goes to Marine Recon Foundation, and they use it for their Gold Star family retreats. So Marine Recon Foundation and BrotherRecon.com are awesome. They supported this, and it wouldn't be out if it wasn't for them.
Well, guys, this is, if you guys want to know about my community and some of our friends, please go purchase this. This is it'd make Trey happy. It'd definitely make me happy, for sure, man. Well, dude, we could probably sit here and tell stories for 3 hours. Maybe we'll have to have you come back on and talk about what's going on with Spearit as well. But dude, thank you so much for finding time to come hang out with me.
Thank you.
And
Thank
sharing.
you, Nick.
And if you guys are listening to this, and if you are struggling, you'd be surprised how many people care. Like how many actually people care. So do not isolate to yourself, and get some help. Hell, reach out to me. I am not hard to get a hold of. I'm easy to find these days. Or go find Trey on his boat. He'll take you out there and slay some fish. All right, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate that. Remember to like it. Remember to drop me a comment. I want to respond to it. I'm actually the one responding to the comments. And if you like this video, you're going to absolutely love this one right here.